Hey guys, welcome back to World Illuminator 11. I hope you're doing well today and welcome if it is your first time checking out my channel. And if it is your first time checking out the channel, then please do hit the subscribe button. You are very welcome here. So today I'm really being guided to talk a bit about the divine masculines. And, we've really been getting a lot of messages about how the divine masculines are awakening. Even the message that came through yesterday, if you haven't checked that out, do check that out. Powerful message that was showing that, they are gaining wisdom. They are awakening. They're going through their transformation. They are focused on themselves right now and their life. They're working on sorting out karmic ties, so there's a lot that they're working through, working on releasing fears in their own lives as well. So there's a lot that they're working through. And I guess the question that came through when I was in the shower was really sort of, why does it take the divine masculine longer to get to the point where they're ready to tell the divine feminine how they feel, and to move forward to tell the divine feminine of the love that they have for them? And I feel that this is a question that sort of comes from the divine feminine collective, wanting to know why it takes long, but I mean, so I am going to bring this in as it comes in, because I am being guided to talk about this, and take what resonates with you and leave what doesn't. As in all cases, you may find some things resonate when it comes to your journey and some do not. That's what we are learning on this journey, to sort of see what is our own truth, what comes in as your truth inside, and what resonates as your truth inside, and what doesn't, you just leave it. And you connect with your inner world and see what is your truth and leave the rest. And that's always the same with any of the videos that I do. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. And so when it comes to the twin flame journey itself, you have the divine feminine and the divine masculine, whether one's male or female, or both, both female, both male, but we have the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and you both have masculine and feminine energy within you. And what we're all working towards is to finding that balance within, balancing your masculine and feminine energy. And that is what helps you to find that inner balance in yourself, to get to the place of, finding inner peace and that joy, and, being balanced in yourself, in everything that you do. When you're balanced within, then that is shown reflected in your outside world, because you find that balance as well when it comes to all areas of your life. And that is what both the divine masculine and the divine feminine is working towards. And when it comes to the twin flame journey, the divine feminine is usually the one who is more open to awakening and more open to feelings, and sort of working through their healing, and really sort of diving deeper more into the way that they feel, and who have more of those qualities of into connecting with their intuition and all these things, because you have more of those feminine sort of the feminine qualities within, than the divine masculine. Even though the divine masculine has got their feminine energy within, but the divine feminine has more of the feminine energy within. So the divine feminine tends to be the one who leads the journey, because they are more open to, since they have more of those qualities, they're more open to intuition, to working with their feelings, to diving deeper into their feelings, to open to healing as well, whereas for the divine masculines, they have more of the masculine energy. So for them, the masculine energy was always about pushing through and not working with your feelings, or even sort of work, just not even being in that place of acknowledging, thank you angels, of acknowledging their feelings, and just pushing through and control and power, and just, I am in my power, I keep moving forward, the feelings don't matter, that sort of energy. So the divine masculines have a lot more of that, whereas for the divine feminine, when you start going through your awakening, it's like everything, you are broken down into pieces, and all those things sort of open up, and you really dive deeper, because you have more of those qualities. You dive deeper into those feelings. And even before awakening, you are more connected to the feelings as a divine feminine. So it's much easier for you to, well, I say easier, it is in a way much, easier for you to go through those things more than it is for the divine masculine. And so the divine feminine then leads the way, goes through their healing, diving into their emotions, and starts really tapping into their intuition, because these are all part of the qualities that the divine feminine has. And then the divine feminine leads the way. So the divine masculine, because they are the divine feminine, you are part of you are both half of the same soul. What you are doing as a divine feminine, your divine masculine will start doing as well. But because they have more of that masculine energy within, that is really through programming and all the things that have happened in society, and that sort of lifestyle whereby the divine masculine have really been focused so much on the 3D world, and just really sort of the outer world. It is much harder in a way, in comparison to the divine feminine, for them to really sort of dive into their feminine energy, because they have more of this masculine energy that sort of dominates within their energy. And so it is harder for them to dive into their feminine energy, but they do have to dive into that, to start connecting with their feminine energy within, because that feminine energy is what helps them to open up to their sacredness. That's where they've got their intuition. That's where they can dive deeper into their feelings. They can dive deeper into their healing as well, because it's all part of, that feminine energy that they have within. So they have it within, and they will get to a point where they start tapping into it. The more the divine feminine is moving forward on her path, doing what she's doing with her own healing, because you are the same, that helps the divine masculine to start tapping into their own inner feminine energy. And that's where, when they start tapping into that, they can start, diving into their feelings, and they can, start sort of finding their being more vulnerable, working on their vulnerability, rather than that sort of strong masculine energy of just being defensive, and I will push on, I will not dive into my feelings, and, and sort of blocking everything out. So they really sort of, the more the divine feminine is working on themselves, diving into their own healing, and everything, that's the divine feminine shining the light for the divine masculine, to help the divine masculine to dive into their own feminine energy within. So they start to work as well with their own inner feminine energy, and to sort of bring it out a bit more within themselves. So it's about them working in within. So it's not about them, the divine feminine, telling the divine masculine, do this, do that. They have to, whilst the divine feminine leads by working on themselves, the divine masculine then starts to dive deeper into their own feminine energy within themselves. But this takes time, because they have so much of this masculine energy that they have on the outs, more of, and that's what they've been used to. It's been years and years of the programming of the divine masculine is meant to be doing this, is to do that, is strong, it doesn't deal with the feelings, and and they've had years and years and years of this. Their wounds are so much harder for them to dive into and heal, because of that programming that they've had for so long. And and when you look at the divine masculines, they tend to just really sort of not want to dive into any of those feelings, feelings of things that may have happened when they were a child, to do with mother wounds, for example, things that they need to work on healing. I mean, for the divine feminine, find it harder as well to even remember some of the things that have happened in your childhood. But, you have more of that. You are more able to dive into those feelings more, but you find it difficult to work on that and heal all that, and then for the divine masculines, it's even more difficult. So their wounds are much harder for them to dive deep into, and to connect more with that feminine energy that they have within. And and they also, so they have to start working on, connecting more with their feminine energy within, finding that vulnerability that they have, that they've probably shut out for such a long time in their life, because this has happened for so long. So they have to work on themselves, and this takes time. This takes time for them to dive deeper, and the ego as well is there, and it's that's what they've always really known all their life. So it's like trying to work past that ego and dive deeper into themselves. And usually the divine feminine as well is actually on their path, and they are listening to readings. They are, because they're more open to the spiritual path as well, because they're more of the spiritual one in this case. They are really sort of starting to read things, to hear things, to really open up to their spiritual side, because that's what the feminine energy is more about. It's about that spiritual side. So they're really starting to open up. So they've got all this information that they're working with. They're working with people with healing and all this, but the divine masculines are really doing it mostly alone, because they've been taught by society that this is not the thing for you. They are so focused maybe even on making money, or just the lifestyle that they're used to, and all these things that it's much harder for them. Then they're not really out there. Some are. This does not apply to every divine masculine. Some are really sort of, they start to find out these things about themselves, and they go out and start to look for information to help themselves on their journey. But for others, it's really difficult, because they're really sort of chipping away at all this by themselves behind closed doors. They don't want anyone else to know, because what would people think? That ego coming in and trying to maintain sort of, being part of society and all these things. So it takes them much longer to dive into those wounds that they have even from childhood, to dive into healing themselves, to dive into their feminine energy. It takes them longer. So this takes time, and that's the message that I was really getting from the angels, to just sort of explain or bring that in, and and just say why it takes time for divine masculines to get to that point where they're ready. And then when they do start chipping away at this ego that comes in and brings in all these fears, and and they are also working to heal themselves, and and how there is also the other thing to remember as well, which is the fact that there is divine timing coming in at play in everything. It's not just happening for you, the divine feminine. It's also happening for the divine masculine, because there is a lot that you both have to clear within yourselves to be able to get to the point where you get to union. And so you may be thinking, oh, I've done so much healing, I've done it all, on my own journey, and my divine masculine is taking so long. But they are doing it at their own pace. There are things that they need to work through within themselves, things that they may not even have help with from the outside or other people, spiritual people. They're doing it all alone. And and it can be scary, because they're suddenly starting to find out all these things about themselves that they didn't even know, and and they wonder whether they are losing it, and there's all these things. So the fears come in. There's a lot that happens with the divine masculines, and and this takes time. But there's also divine timing coming in to help the divine masculine to have the time that they need to get through all these things. So, this is why you may think, oh, my divine masculine is not doing anything. They're not showing me anything. But the truth is, you don't know what is going on within them behind closed doors. You don't know the amount of work that they are doing within themselves, and how the Creator, the angels are helping them. They are doing it. It just has to happen at the time that it needs to happen for them to also learn the lessons that they need to learn. They may still be in a karmic situation, because there's still certain lessons that they need to learn as well. So it may take time for them, because they haven't learned certain lessons in their own that they need to have for their own experience, for their own growth as a divine masculine, for them to be ready to be with you, the divine feminine. So there's so many things coming into play. They may still need to learn certain lessons from a job that they may be in, so that they can get past that and be able to stand strong for themselves as a divine masculine. They may need to learn that lesson of, they may need to heal things that have happened in childhood, maybe with their mother, so that they can be able to get to a place where they're strong enough to stand up for themselves and actually be like, I am going to do this thing for myself as a divine masculine. So there's a lot of things that they need to heal. They need to heal their father wounds as well. And, there's so much that they need to work through. So divine timing comes in to help them to work on all these things for themselves, to help them to get to that place of finding the balance within. And this is not, the healing is not something that can be rushed, or that they can rush either, because they have to really get to that place of getting to that balance. And both of you are working towards becoming energetically aligned. They are working. It's really, I was like, who's talking? It's my like my Siri in a way. I don't know why it's talking, but anyway, so they are working to really sort of get to a point where they are in balance energetically, and you're both working towards this as well. So it takes time, and all these things are also happening on various levels. It's not just on the physical level. There are so many sort of levels that you both need to get to that place, on the higher planes, on the higher realms. First, you need to get to that place of being balanced. So, spiritually and, in all sorts of different ways, until you get to that point where on the 3D level as well, you get to be balanced. And that, in the physical level, when you are when you are in balance as well on the physical level, that's when you can get to the point of actually coming into union. So that's the message that I was really just being guided to share, that it's not just that your divine masculine is not talking to you, they're not communicating, and all these things. They are things that they're working on, and you may not even know this, but they will be way ahead on their own journey in their own life, than you may actually even realize, because they are doing their work behind those closed doors, that other people may not even know about, but they're working with the whole of heaven to help them to get there. And they will get there, is a message that's coming through from the angels. They will get there, but it is about releasing the timing of when this is going to happen, because all the things that they need to go through for themselves, the lessons that they need to learn, the things that they need to get stronger at and release in their life, and how they can open up to their vulnerability. This is about them really opening up to their feminine energy as well. But the fact that they are going through their awakening is showing you that, the awakening is about opening up more of that spiritual side of themselves, that feminine energy within. That's about connecting more to their intuition, connecting, becoming more vulnerable, being more open to love, moving more out of the mind and more into the heart. All this is happening as they're going through their awakening. So there is a lot that is happening for the divine masculine. They're opening up more to that feminine energy. They're moving more into the heart, so that they can be able to sort of get more out of their head and really sort of follow their heart towards what their heart is truly desiring, and this is that love with you. And they do want to have that love with you, their divine feminine. Everyone wants to have love and peace and joy, and your divine masculine wants that as well. And once they've met you, their divine feminine, they know that even if they're in a karmic relationship, things are not as, there will always be that sort of wishing that they were with you, because when they are with you, it is a different kind of love, and they feel it within themselves. They may deny it at the beginning, but they know, even when, without even realizing at times, they just make that sort of comparison, because they know that with you things are different, and they want that kind of love, that deep kind of love that is true and that they just know that this is it, this is the one. They do want all that, but they just need to get past all those fears, all those insecurities. There's a lot of insecurities that are all from things that have happened in their childhoods, their lives, the wounds, the pain, the things that they need to release. There's a lot that needs to go. There's a lot of forgiving of themselves for things that have happened with you, their divine feminine, things that have happened in the past as well. So all that needs to go. And so the more you're working on all these things for yourself as a divine feminine, because sometimes it can be easy to just think, oh, my divine masculine's not doing this, but it is, you have that connection. You are the same. So the more you're working on all these things for yourself, working on forgiving yourself even, as well as a divine feminine, it will help your divine masculine to work on forgiving themselves. Working on forgiving your divine masculine will help them to work on forgiving themselves, because you are connected. There is always that the deeper you're going with your healing, with your working on yourself, the more they will also do the same. So you're always shining your light bright, even if you haven't seen them for 5 years or whatever. You're always shining your light bright for them. The more you are working on yourself, you are shining your light to help them come home to you, because the more they work on themselves, the more they are coming home to you as well. So that was the message that was coming through. I really hope that helps, to sort of explain why it takes longer. There is a lot of that stuff that goes on for the divine masculines that they find so much harder to sort of get past, but they are climbing that mountain. They are climbing that mountain because they know that when they get to the top, they are going to have this view of this whole life that is beautiful, the life with their divine feminine, the life that they truly desire, because they want that deep connection. They want that love with you. The same way you're wanting that love with them, they are wanting to have that love with you as well. So that was the message that was coming through. They are awakening, they are connecting more to their feminine energy. They are moving forward on their journey, and they are going through all those things, moving forward towards you, their divine feminine. I hope you have a great day, guys. I'll see you on the next video. Love, peace, positivity, and light.